This is KGW News at 11.
And we begin with new developments in a search for armed men who had people in a Portland neighborhood hiding in their homes tonight. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dan Haggerty.
And I'm Laurel Porter. At this hour, one of the suspects is still on the run. KGW's Mike Benner is live at the Multnomah County Jail tonight. Mike, I can't imagine this had to have been frightening for those who lived in that search area.
Yeah, terrifying, really. Authorities tell us that some of these guys actually tried to get into people's homes as they were running from police. Can you imagine that? All of this unfolding just to the southeast of 104th and Holgate. As we mentioned, 3 of the 4 suspects have been captured. 2 of them booked here at the Multnomah County Jail and the other at the Juvenile Detention Center.
Yeah, we're asking everybody to stay inside their residence at this time.
Neighbors urged to stay inside with their doors locked as officers in the air and on the ground search a southeast Portland neighborhood for armed suspects.
It is a kind of a time-consuming process because people, in our experience, try to hide in the smallest of places. So people may try and hide underneath the porch.
Sergeant Chris Burley says it all started around 3 o'clock Wednesday afternoon. Reports of a suspicious vehicle. As officers moved in, 4 young men bailed out and took off running. One of the men was arrested pretty quickly, but the others had a neighborhood on lockdown for hours.
They won't let me through. They're letting people out, but not letting people in. So it's just wait and see what happens.
As he waited outside the perimeter, specially trained officers went property to property looking for the bad guys.
We did receive reports from community members that the suspects attempted to make entry into several residences as they were fleeing from police.
Officers would eventually find a second suspect hiding in a shed and a third suspect close by. They also found 2 guns and 2 stolen vehicles, but the 4th suspect is still on the run.
They've gone outside of the area that we've searched, and continuing to search is likely going to be a fruitless endeavor.
All right, with that 4th suspect still on the run, people in that southeast Portland neighborhood are urged to remain vigilant and contact police if you see anything or, of course, know anything about this case. Back to you in the studio.
Mike, thank you. I'm sure they'll catch that 4th person. I couldn't imagine those guys running around my neighborhood knocking on doors. Scary stuff. We have some late breaking news tonight to tell you about this government shutdown deadline. Apparently the Senate has now approved legislation that will temporarily fund the government and avoid a Friday shutdown. Now the House still has to pass this. The White House hasn't said yet if the president will support the measure or not. It doesn't provide that $5 billion that President Trump wanted for a border wall. Instead, it funds border security and other agencies at current levels right now through the beginning of February.
Beaverton schools are expecting a regular school day tomorrow after going into lockout today over threats. The district says it's doing security sweeps through all of its buildings tonight. Students may still see extra police presence when they head to class tomorrow. Beaverton police say the district got 4 different threats today, 2 on Facebook, 1 through email, and 1 phoned in. While buildings went into lockout mode, parents had the option of taking their kids home. Some felt that was the right thing to do. Others kept their kids in class.
It was really no-brainer. My wife and I just decided that, this is something we best not have to worry about later on.
And we felt like we're not going to live our lives in fear. We're not going to let these threats dictate how we live. So we're trusting that they're taking the right precautions and feel strongly that they are, so our kids are in school.
Law enforcement, including the FBI, are still investigating where those threats came from.
New tonight, package thieves caught on camera hitting a home in Lake Oswego, and it appeared as though they might have had a child, a kid, doing their dirty work for them. Take a look. First, you see the vehicle turning around in the driveway. Then the homeowner says it looks like a child comes up the porch, takes the box there. This is only about 3 minutes after it was delivered.
We've got 6-year-old twin boys, and knowing that his shoe size looked about, only maybe a size or 2 bigger than our kids. So knowing that that kid was maybe 10 or 12 years old, it was disheartening to think that that's someone's holiday traditions being created.
Police have not confirmed if it was a minor who they believe was involved in this, but they did recover the package. Take a look. They had these toy robots inside. And there's some good news coming of this. The family already had a replacement package sent to them from Amazon. Then they talked to Amazon about it, and everybody agreed to donate that second shipment to a local school.
Total devastation. I see people walking around like they're lost. We've lost everything we own.
Daylight today revealed the true toll a tornado took on a neighborhood of Port Orchard, Washington. The National Weather Service determined today it was an EF2 tornado. That's the strongest to hit Washington in more than 3 decades. That means wind speeds reached 120 miles per hour. The tornado traveled 1.5 miles. From the air, now you can see its path where it just took roofs right off the homes, ripped trees out of the ground. In all, 250 structures were damaged. Now, that's a revised estimate from a higher number we heard earlier today. Thankfully, no one was seriously hurt. All right, this probably won't surprise you. New statistics place Oregon near the top in our nation's homeless crisis.
Yeah, almost to the very top. According to this year's homeless assessment report to Congress, Oregon now has the 2nd highest rate of homelessness behind California. So here in Portland, the Union Gospel Mission doing its part to help those in need. That includes helping 900 homeless people in just the last year alone. Now, according to this report, Oregon's growth rate for homelessness is the biggest issue here. It increased 6.8% over the last year. Nationwide, Oregon has the highest rate of homelessness among families with children. 2 years ago, Brian McKenzie entered Union Gospel Mission's Resident Recovery Program after a decade-long struggle with drugs and homelessness. Now he's getting back on his feet while serving others who are still living on the street.
I know exactly what it's like to have nowhere to go and have nothing to eat, nothing to call your own. And so it feels really good to be able to give back and be a part of trying to provide some of the help that they need.
Oregon also faces a huge challenge when it comes to caring for homeless veterans. So the national average shows 18 out of every 10,000 vets are homeless. But in Oregon, that number is 43 out of every 10,000.
Health officials believe there is another case of a polio-like illness in Clark County. This has been affecting children across the country. The local child, who is younger than 6, was hospitalized for sudden paralysis in one arm. The child also has symptoms of respiratory illness and a fever, which are all symptoms of acute flaccid myelitis, or AFM. It's one of 11 cases the Washington State Health Department is investigating. Symptoms range from mild weakness to total paralysis. To protect yourself, officials recommend the usual: washing your hands often with soap and water, avoid contact with sick people, and do stay up to date on your immunizations. If you've ever been tempted to sign up for a free trial thinking you can always cancel it later, stick around for this next story.
The problem is not that they're free. The problem is that they're oftentimes a trap for repeated payments.
KGW investigates the tricks that some of these companies are pulling to make it really nearly impossible for you to get out of these deals or ever get your money back.
And I'm Matt Safino. Weather warnings hoisted around the Northwest. Once again, we've got a high wind warning on the coast. We're beginning to see the rain increase a little bit. It'll really pick up tomorrow. I'll let you know exactly when and what this means for mountain snowpack.
And a special moment in our KGW Great Toy Drive. You've all been with us through this, and today was Delivery Day. Thousands of toys are now headed to local nonprofits, and then they'll be on to the kids to help give them a happy holiday season. We want to thank everyone who donated, all of our volunteers, for making this an overwhelming success this year. And Dan, you pointed out all those bags are filled with a lot of toys.
Yeah, 20 toys in each one of those bags. Look, I mean, what an effort by this community. We can't thank you enough.